Better you might pay attention, right? Great. Time has arrived. We open our services. Let us all stand and we'll be open in prayer. Okay. Pray in the name of Allah, the beneficent, the merciful. All praises are due to Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Quran Muhammad, the beneficent, the most merciful, Master of the day of judgment in which we now live. Thee do we serve, thine aid we beseech for help. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou hast bestowed favors, and not the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down. Love those who go astray. All praises are due to Allah, who came to us in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, and we forever thank him for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. Amen. Amen. You be seated. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
As we open our temple services today, as always, we open in the name of Allah, in person and reality, Master Farah Muhammad, and in the name of his last messengers, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And we greet the beloved brothers and sisters once again in the nation greets a peace of Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam.
The greeting of peace is one that everyone who desires the natural way of life, which is Islam, will offer to his or her brother or sister. We see it throughout the Bible, in particular in the New Testament. It states, peace be with you, or peace be unto you.
Yes, sir.
Peace is very important. And peace is the way of Almighty God, Allah himself. His universe is founded in peace, not in mayhem, not in confusion, not in chaos.
Right.
Yes, sir.
Many of the scientists, when they talk about the world and the science of creation, they even state that if you try to go back to the very beginning of everything, they have no knowledge of what took place. Yet when you open the Bible, it tells you, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. So this is telling you peace is being established. Because when you look out at the sun, the moon, and the stars, whether you're looking out in the day or at night, you get an aurora of peace. Because everything looks so, what we always say, peaceful. Planets have their own orbits.
Mm-hmm.
Stars have their place in the sky. You can even tell, if you know the positions of different stars, which direction you travel at night when there is no sun being bright up the sky.
Right.
They said many of our people who were on the plantations, when they were ready to escape, somebody knew how to get north because somebody knew follow the North Star.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't look for the North Star in the south.
Nope.
It'll be in the same position in the north.
Right.
Then, if you didn't see anything in the way of a heavenly body,
Mm-hmm.
some type of, what you call it, sense that you have within your head will tell you if you're going in the right direction or not.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Our people, when they look at the various flags you have on the planet Earth, You can look in the encyclopedia. You see the European flags. You see the flags of Asia. You see the flags of South America. But the greatest flag of any flag is the flag that we have in Islam is taught by the Messenger.
Yes, sir.
And we always say, why is it so great? Because it's God's flag.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't the one that flies so high that you can't take it down. You don't be raising this one up and lowering this one down.
Right.
Because every day you get up in the morning, you're going to see something about this flag out in the sky.
Yes, sir.
Every night you can see something about this flag.
Mm-hmm.
So God came in person, Master Farad Muhammad, and taught us about our universe as well as about our flag. We live in a day and time in which the Organized Muhammad teaches us we must know about our creation because it's what our Father produced for us.
Mm-hmm.
And he says what belongs to the Father, he shares with his children, right? Mm-hmm. All of his family. Now the Bible says that he started in the beginning. It doesn't tell you when it was, but it says it was in the beginning. Not just time-wise, but we are still, where are we now? In the beginning. Beginning never can be destroyed because the beginning is what life is all about.
Mm-hmm.
When we go to school, they tell us, well, you look at something called matter. What did they talk about matter? Matter can neither be what?
Created nor destroyed.
Nor destroyed. Another thing they said about matter, matter is anything that has weight and takes up space. And that's what counts in life.
Mm-hmm.
What counts in anybody's life is that which matters.
Yes, sir.
Right? That's right. Then we got to know something else about matter. Matter has 3 states of its own existence.
Mm-hmm.
Matter can be what?
Solid,
liquid,
or gas.
And gas. A combination of those, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's matter. So when Moses gave that information to the white people when they wanted to know about our creation, and it's put there in the Bible in the first book called the Genesis. The Genesis only means what? The beginning.
Mm-hmm.
So what best way to talk about the beginning other than to state facts that will bring you into the knowledge of the beginning? Right. Then after that it tells you right there in Genesis, the earth was what? Without form and void. What condition was it in then? What is it without form and void? That's a gaseous state. Now we learned in school, they said, how do you begin to measure gas? Gas takes the shape of its container. Right? True. Now, we talk about volume, right? When you start talking about gas.
Mm-hmm.
But our people, when they look at the Bible, they say, well, this is God's book. Before being tampered with, it is God's book. Right. But we need to understand it in the most appropriate manner. Okay, then later on, now all people talking about all this stuff like you hear in church and say, I'm going to go somewhere called heaven. Well, what does God call heaven? Doesn't Genesis tell you that there were some waters above, which we call the cloud cover, and the waters that on the earth, the rivers, the lakes, the oceans, the streams. But in between these 2 bodies of water, or these 2 sets of water, there's something in there called firmament. Right. And what does the Genesis say about firmament? God called the firmament heaven. Right. So why would people think they got to go somewhere beyond the sun, the moon, the stars, all the planets, another galaxy to get to somewhere called heaven, but that's not what God said.
Right.
So if somebody said something other than what God said, they either are disagreeing with God
Mm-hmm.
or either they just outright telling a lie. Right? And most of our people got this book in their house.
True.
Now they got to go back and look at the Bible. It does say in the beginning God created heaven and earth. But it didn't tell what the beginning was. But it says he did it. Now, if you didn't know where it was, and after you get all that description, then you got to know, well, I still must be in the beginning. And I'm also in heaven. So now you got to go tell the preacher, well, everything you said concerning what I got to do in the sweet by and by, I can do right here in the sweet here now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't they tell you it's such a thing called the here after?
Mm-hmm.
Here means what?
Present.
Within the
Yeah.
area that you are familiar with. But it's after a certain time of something else that's got to
Take place.
get out of the way and take place. It didn't say the thereafter. Thereafter means what? Way out there. But said the hereafter. Right here after a certain motion that takes place.
Mm-hmm.
Now, in the Nation of Islam, we have a board that we call the Actual Facts Board.
Yes, sir.
Everything on this board we can teach about and tell the truth. That's an actual fact,
Right.
not something somebody made up. Like sometimes the preacher will say, well, I fancied, I dreamt. No, dreams sometimes end up being nightmares and people fall off the bed when they have bad dreams, right? But if you have a vision, that's what they said that prophets had, right?
Yes, sir.
They envisioned something based on something that either happened in the past or will happen in the future. But it's still based on facts, math, science. Something that you can calculate is not a figment of your imagination, but something that can materialize and people can understand what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
Who had vision? Didn't they say that Abraham, even though they tried to mix it with the dream, but they said God told Abraham that future generations of his people would have to suffer for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
How long? 400 years.
years.
And they would have to be afflicted. They would not be at their own home, but they'd be away from home
Right.
in a strange land,
land.
serving a strange people.
Mm-hmm.
But God assured Abraham, that's not forever.
Right.
That's only 400 years. But after that time, he would deliver his people out of that miserable condition, and he would destroy the people who had destroyed his people.
Right.
And his people would be blessed with great substance,
Yes, sir.
and he would destroy Abraham's enemies.
Mm-hmm.
Ezekiel had a vision. What did Ezekiel see?
So I beheld a wheel.
Ezekiel saw a wheel in the
Wheel.
middle of a wheel. It said it went up so high, it darkened the sky. And he said, "Oh, wheel." Now you know, 2,000 years ago, the people of the earth did not have vehicles that traveled through the sky, and they didn't have nothing that had that big of a magnitude
Right.
of its size that it could darken the sky.
Yes, sir.
So it was something that was being told the prophet Ezekiel that would happen in the distant future. And because he could envision what was shown to him, the vision caught his, his imagination. He said, "Oh, well. What else has happened?" The Honorable Muhammad says, when you read and study the Bible properly, you can see some things in the Bible talk about what happened in the past.
Right.
Some things we talk about what happened at that day and time, and other things we talk about the future.
True.
So for you to understand all of this, you got to be equipped with what? Hindsight insight, and foresight.
Mm-hmm.
Past, present, and future.
Yes, sir.
Now you look in the last book of the Bible, they call it the book of
Revelation.
Revelation. They don't just read Revelation, but they stretch it out. Whole title.
Mm-hmm.
The Revelation of Saint John the Divine.
Hmm.
Well, he's called in the Old Testament Jacob
That's right.
because the Jews use the word Jacob and the Muslims say Yaqub.
Right.
You look in the Old Testament, you see sometimes the word that's called Eli in the Old Testament, and you come into the New Testament, you see Elijah.
Mm-hmm.
Going from one language to the other.
Right.
So now we are going to talk about God's flag and the devil's flag. It doesn't say it right here on the front of the message of the black man, but it says the flag of USA and Islam.
Yes, sir.
The flag of USA, that's the flag of white people.
Mm-hmm.
The flag of Islam, God's flag.
Right.
Now the scripture asks the question, which one will survive in the last days, the war of Armageddon? Will it be God or the devil? If the devil's going to go, then everything that he made's got to go with him too. So he can't be flying nothing because he won't be around here to fly nothing.
Right.
But our flag has flown throughout the creation for trillions of years.
Yes, sir.
And we don't see it going nowhere anytime soon.
That's right.
Sun been up there long, long time.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The stars have been out there long, long time.
Mm-hmm.
The moon has been with our earth a long, long time. But yet, people have flags to represent their nation or their country.
Right.
But we're talking about a nation that has no beginning nor end. Always was and always will be the nation of Islam. The American flag was made a few hundred years ago, but it didn't even look like this when they made it.
Mm-mm.
Because they only had what?
13
13 original colonists that became 13 states.
states.
So each star represents
A
a state.
Yeah.
So years ago when they first put together, they only had 13 stars on.
Mm-hmm.
Every time they added another state, they added another star.
Yes, sir.
Some of the last states that were added to America were Alaska and Hawaii.
Hawaii.
And that was back in what, the 1950s, 60s or something like that. I think Alaska
40s.
and Hawaii, both on about the same time. And some states were added after the Civil War. Some were added before the Civil War. Some states were added when France sold the land back to America that she had taken from the Indians called the Louisiana Purchase.
Yes, sir.
They carved a whole lot of states out of that. But what about the so-called American Negro who thinks that everybody in the world has a flag except us? We look at the Russian flag, the Chinese flag, the British flag, the French flag, the American flag. But the flag that Allah has showed us is the greatest flag that anybody can have. He gave us a flag that represents the science of all of creation. And we should be happy to know that a God has come, taking the people who have been the lowest of the low, didn't think we were anything, and we thought everybody else was everything, and we were always nothing. But he first came and he established for us our flag. We come into the temple. It's an atmosphere in the temple that's conducive to learn.
True.
To learning who we are, to learning who other people are, to learning what time we live in, and learning what must be done in this day and time.
Mm-hmm.
As Muhammad says, the temple is an atmosphere that's conducive to learning. Because we give you that which Allah has given us through His messenger. which is histories that go back into the eons of time. And when white folks call discoveries that they make and show on TV, it doesn't rattle or excite or follow down like Muhammad. But Muhammad has long ago told us about the nature of the creation. That at one time there was nothing but the vast darkness of space before the first God created himself in this darkness of space from an atom of light. And he says, one time you couldn't hardly find your way out of darkness. Now it's kind of hard to find your way out of light.
Right, that's right.
Because we got the sun that's shining. It's 93 million miles away from the planet Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And yet it's penetrating all that darkness in space. And when it hits the planet Earth, we see the bright light. It causes what? Growth, germination, and development. But yet the space is still dark. The space is always going to be dark until something is put into space to light up the space. And they say now the scientists got these, what you call them, telescopes, looking all out in space, looking for the origin of everything. But Allah has taught us through the messenger, you don't have to look way out in space to find the origin of life. You got to just look in God's heaven,
That's right.
which is the earth.
Right.
This is the home of Almighty God himself. What do they say in the scripture? What's God's footstool? The earth, right?
That's right.
So if a man places his foot on the earth, the rest of his body got to be somewhere close by too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. Doesn't the Bible say that even some of the ancient wise people who had conversation with God, like who?
Abraham.
Noah,
No.
Enoch,
Yeah.
Abraham. God spoke to Moses. Doesn't the Bible say how?
Mm-hmm.
Face to
Face
face
to face.
as a man speaks into his grave.
Mm-hmm.
Now, who was the man who was perfect and upright? Who walked and talked with God?
Right, right.
Job. Remember the man they called Job? They said he had a conversation going with God. Had a conversation with the devil too. But what did God tell the devil? You can have access to my servant Job. You can almost do anything you want to him, but don't kill him. And what did the devil say? Well, if you let me have him for a while, I'll make him so mad at you, he will curse you to your face.
Mm-hmm.
God got a face. Now, they said when they asked Prophet Jesus about his Father God, when is the end going to come? What did Jesus supposed to have told the people?
Nobody
No man knows the day nor
the
the hour. He didn't stop right there. He said, well,
Not even angels in the
I don't know. He was talking about himself.
Mm-hmm.
He said the angels of heaven
Mm-hmm.
don't know. And he started off with a man, right? And then he ended up with saying that the only man that knows the day and the hour, he said, is my Father.
Mm-hmm.
So that means he's looking at his dad as being a man. And not only a man, but God. And where did God live? In heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And he knows the day and the hour. So how did our people get so sidetracked to think that God is not man?
Right.
Everything that we do, we depend on somebody to give us a knowledge of how to properly make it function properly. When we make something, we said we're going to go and manufacture it, right? Sometimes people say, let's put this here, let's put this here. You call that putting things in their right place.
Mm-hmm.
Another word, which is sometimes used good, sometimes used for no good. People say, I want to manipulate something, right? It still starts off with man, M-A-N. So, with all this that we know, that we can't think about nobody, or no thing, or no incident without a person being here. We couldn't even talk about God if man was not here.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody be here to talk about
That's
God,
right.
who is man, right? We couldn't talk about good or bad, except people have to be here to make that judgment assessment, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the last book, the Bible, and then we bring on Brother Secretary Hakeem, and he's going to talk about our flag and the other people's flag, and why it is we need to know and respect our flag. Because the flag represents the history of a people, the history of a nation, the history of a civilization. So how can you talk about your history if you don't have one? If you don't
That's
know
right.
your history?
That's right.
Somebody else might comment on your history, and you don't know if they're telling you the truth or not until you learn what the truth is.
Right.
So what happened with us as a people? When they ripped us away from our homeland, we didn't know who we were, where we came from. All we knew is that they said that we didn't come from here, we came from across the water. But they killed the parents off after the parents had children.
Mm-hmm.
And they raised the children the way they wanted the children to think and to act and live.
That's right.
And you got all kind of black scholars who try to do the research and go back and find out where we come from. Who were we? What was our way of life? Did we have a way that we govern ourselves? We learn all this in Islam is taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So now we're going into some history of our flag and also some history of white people's flag. Our people thought this means you put your hand on your heart, you pledge allegiance to the United States flag,
Mm-hmm.
to the republic for which it stands, it's about one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That didn't apply to us.
Nope.
It must apply to our people still marching looking for some liberty.
That's right.
So they would include it in the all.
Right.
So without further ado, we're going to bring forth Brother Secretary Hakeem to go into some of the history of the original nation, the black nation, as well as the history of the white race. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Again, let's give our brother minister a warm round of applause.
Thank you. I praise the Lord for the message today.
The introduction was such that I could say, go ahead and get your coats and hats. And
No.
go home.
No, sir.
But all praises due to Allah. The information that He has passed on to us is vitally important when it comes to our topic. And of course, what we get from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is unending.
Yes, it is.
We say there's 360 degrees of knowledge, and in each degree there's another 360. So the well that we drink from
Never runs dry.
never, as the brother say, runs dry.
Yes, sir.
In the name of Almighty God Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom all holy praise is forever due. And in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, who also greet my brothers and sisters in the greeting words of peace and paradise of Assalam.
Walaikum salam.
So how are my brothers and sisters this afternoon?
Fine, all praises to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, sir.
Yes, we are always fine. We are following our divine leader, teacher, and guide, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
There are many of those who attach his name to what they present. But if you listen to what they say, you'll know it didn't come from
Not from him.
Elijah Muhammad.
That's true.
He says, my sheep know my voice, and another's they will not follow.
Not follow.
It's unfortunate we have so many brothers and sisters who are following those other than the Honorable Elijah Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
claiming Islam and the nation of Islam as being what they're all about.
True.
We say, brothers and sisters, know your teacher,
Right.
know the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
The messenger says, if you will follow me, then do as I do.
Exactly.
This book, Message to the Black Man, you heard me say, is more important
Very much.
than the so-called Holy Bible.
So-called.
It is a book that enlightens the black man to the knowledge of himself, his religion,
Right.
and his God in reality.
Yes, sir.
Emphasis on the God, because God is not a spook,
Never has been.
not a spirit, and none of the entities that they attribute to being God.
Right.
People say, well, God help me. They calling on a God.
Yeah.
But they really calling on Nothing.
ING.
Why? Because they have no knowledge of
The
who they're
reality.
calling for help on.
Right.
When they talk about Jesus having sinned, God, Father, why have you forsaken me? He ain't talking about no God in the sky someplace.
Somebody helping him.
He's talking about Joseph.
Mm-hmm.
Because Joseph was
His
his
father.
biological father.
Exactly.
When they talk about Jesus 2,000 years ago, they want us to think and believe that that God 2,000 years ago, Jesus as they called him, was going to be here to help us. But that Jesus couldn't help his own self.
That's what they
So
teach.
he must not have been the one.
No, sir.
And when he has said, look for the one who
After
comes
me.
behind me,
Right.
he must be talking about somebody other than his own self.
He has to be.
All praises due to Allah, brothers and sisters, for this day and time and the teachings that we get to enlighten us to the dealings that we have to deal with.
Yes, sir.
We'll be talking today about our flag.
Right.
And we'll be talking about the flag of the United States of America. As the brother before me said, every country has a flag that represents them. But we have a flag that represents the universe.
The universe itself.
And nothing that they have is greater than what Almighty God has brought forth in the universe.
Right.
Unfortunately, we've been made so deaf, dumb, and blind that we don't even know that we even have a flag.
We sure don't.
We look at the flag of Islam here, and we think that's some foreigner's flag. And in reality, it's our flag.
It's our flag.
This flag was given to us by Almighty God himself.
Yes, sir.
He brought it to us in 1930. It was the first time the black man and woman had been recognized as a nation.
Right.
People. You see, because we've always thought of ourselves as being a race.
Yeah.
But the messenger says a race has a beginning
and an end.
And it has an ending. But we don't have a beginning that can be found.
Alpha and Omega.
And we don't have an ending that we can be looking forward to coming. But let's change that up a little bit.
Right.
There is an ending for us, being who we were made to be.
Yes.
That's coming to an end now.
Yes, sir.
Because this that we get now is being the new enlightenment for us.
Yes, it is.
It is the new heavenly state that we'll be placed in.
Right.
Not placed in the sense I'm going to carry you somewhere, but he's going to carry you somewhere. But he's going to enlighten you to the degree that you're going to realize where you are.
Exactly.
It's going to be your heaven.
Right.
The brother before me said, above is water and below is water. And in between what is referred to as the firmament
sky
is heaven.
This heaven.
And that's where we are now. The messenger said this heaven is not a place, but a condition in which we live.
Of life.
We also find that hell is in the same place. So don't be looking for no man in a little red suit with a pitchfork and a little horn to come along and grab hold of you.
Got you now.
The messenger said he walks around in a blue suit, white shirt and tie. Because he's a man also. Yeah. But he's not a man of righteousness. We are glad to be living in the day and time that we're living.
Yes, we are.
And the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, in this opening of this particular topic is on page 237 in the Message to the Black Man, titled The Flag of the USA and Islam. Of course, we also look at it as saying the USA's flag versus the flag of Islam.
Yes, sir.
Because we say versus because this flag indicates that you are now an independent people.
Yeah.
We know in the beginning of getting this information, we were not an independent people. We were named as an independent people.
Yes, sir.
We didn't have any knowledge of ourselves. We didn't have knowledge of our former slave masters.
Sure didn't.
And we didn't have a knowledge of our religion, our culture, our God, or anything
Mhm.
outside of what the white man has given us.
True.
So we are a blessed people today to be in the midst of a transition that is coming on.
Yes, sir.
We are in that, what they call the age of Aquarius.
Mm-hmm.
We are following the water bearer.
Mm.
And that bearer is the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, he is.
And he's dumping onto us
Plenty.
the waters of wisdom and enlightenment.
Yes, he is.
So we'll have that knowledge, wisdom, and
And
understanding.
understand. Yes, sir.
And it says, and all that I get what? Get understanding.
Understand.
Because we can't have wisdom without understanding.
Mm-hmm.
The wisdom is based on the knowledge that we've acquired and understand.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say, I've been down that road, I've seen these things go down before,
Mm-hmm.
it's because of the witnessing of the wisdom from the knowledge and the understanding. He opens, he says, in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, to whom praises are due forever.
Yes, sir.
The finder and life giver to us,
Right.
so-called Negro.
So-called.
When were you called something other than a Negro? When we look at our history here, we can't even remember being called anything other than a Negro. It's a name that he labeled us with.
Mm-hmm.
He even shortened it down to call us nigger.
Mm-hmm.
Today they said, well, we burying that nigger word.
Still
You can't
using
say the N-word no more.
it. Still
But
using
we still using that word every day.
it. Mm-hmm.
And many of us are acting as they have taught us to act, as what they call a nigger.
Amen.
Being the nigger is a Negro, but a lower standard of Negro. He says, we have been lost from our own people and our own nation,
Right.
our own God and our own religion
Right.
for 400 years.
Long time.
Now we calculate this as almost 500 years.
500 years.
White man said he set you free 400 years ago.
To do
And
what?
you still want to be under him, doing what he needs you to do and be for his benefit.
Mm-hmm.
What has happened to the idea of do something for self?
Mm.
It's been out for a long time now. Almighty God himself brought that to us.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who he has raised, the first begotten of the dead,
Right.
gives that to us.
Yes, sir.
Yet those who supposedly be greatly educated, leadership amongst our people,
Mm-hmm.
are not giving us any inkling of the thought of doing for self.
True.
The civil rights program that our people crying and begging for
Mm-hmm.
is a program that wants us to be good slaves for the white man. Not
Forever.
that you're in chattel slavery,
Mm-mm.
but you're still working for his benefit.
Mm-hmm.
The same as we did on the plantation.
Yes, sir.
He said the teachings on the significance of the American flag,
Mm-hmm.
or what we call the American flag,
Mm-hmm.
and the Islamic flag is given to us.
Right.
It is given to him by Master Farad Muhammad,
Yes, sir.
God in person,
Mm-hmm.
not a spook,
Not
not
a
a spirit. He said the meanings are essential. And
Yes.
this is what we teach oftentimes in our opening lectures
Right.
when we introducing our lost found brothers and sisters into the temple is set up and what we have on our actual facts board.
Right.
It is the two most important things that we can relate
Yes,
to
sir.
our people,
True.
coming from Almighty God himself.
Yes,
And
sir.
his messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
It's a means by which we lift the veil of darkness and dig them up out of the mental grave
Mhm.
of death
Right.
that we've been put in.
Yes.
Teaching you what goes on over there
Mm-hmm.
and what's going on over here.
Yes, sir.
All praises be to Allah for the most honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when this company, not we, but when this country was established,
Mm-hmm.
as the brother mentioned before me, there was 13 colonies,
Mm-hmm.
which became the first 13 states.
Mhm.
And as they added a new piece of territory on that they called a state, they added a new star to
Right.
their flag.
Mhm.
Now we've got 50, as he's mentioned. All 50 of them
Mm-hmm.
are related to each other. Why? Because they run by family.
They are.
People say family.
Yeah.
I thought they would run independent. No. All white folks are related to each other.
Yeah. Family.
That's
Relative.
why when you go to the courts,
Yeah.
wherever you go, whatever state you're in, you'll find laws that similar everywhere.
Right.
Why? because this family operation. We didn't know that. We thought it was everybody was independent.
No.
They only independent in the sense that you can make some rules and laws within your own state.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, that the umbrella is the federal government.
Federal
And
government.
it makes the determination whether or not what you're going to be implementing is valid or
Invalid. Right.
All praise is due to Allah for know these things.
Yes, sir.
But when it comes to our flag, let's look at the two flags.
Yes, sir.
Number one, let's look at the white man's flag.
Okay.
And I say white man's because it don't matter if he's in the United States of America or if he's across the ocean somewhere. The principles are going to be the same.
Mm-hmm.
We find that there are 7 red stripes.
Mm-hmm.
It's supposed to be based in freedom.
Supposed.
We find that we say those red stripes really represent the blood that we've spilled in building this country for somebody else, with little or no benefit coming to us.
Right.
How many of us own plantations with slaves?
None.
Very, 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 very few.
If any.
We know that there were some blacks who had a plantation
Way back then.
who owned some slaves.
Mm-hmm.
Not only black slaves, but a few Indians too. Why? Because the Indian is an oppressed people just like we have been.
Mm-hmm.
The white, suppose it represents purity, don't it?
So they say.
It's clean when it's nice and white, isn't it? It says, ooh, oh, so clean, and it's white. But the reality of it, it represents the white man.
Yeah.
And we thought that his way of life was a clean way of life.
We thought.
But in reality, it has never been a clean way of life. Why? Because his lifestyle came in opposition to what was our lifestyle.
Right.
He was made, according to what the messenger teaches us, to be an enemy to us.
Adversary.
And if he's made to be an adversary or an enemy to us, then he ain't down for what you down for.
No. Yes.
He ain't down for doing right.
No, he's not.
He ain't down for turning the other cheek. Because if you turn the other cheek for him, he slap you.
You're not.
If you slap him on one side, you won't get a chance to slap him on the other side. Because he don't play that.
He don't play that.
All right? The stars, we said, each one supposed to, according to them, represent a state and justice. Because all of the states have a legal system as well.
Right.
And in their legal system, they set up laws that's going to be of benefit to them.
Right.
And when it comes time to go to jail, it's not them going to jail for doing the horrendous things that they do.
It's us.
It is us going to jail even for little
minor offenses.
You know? 50 states, 50 stars. We say the stars are supposed to represent justice. But we don't find justice for us over there.
Sure don't.
And these things that I'm saying is nothing new to you.
Right.
You've experienced it your own self in everyday life. Even on jobs. You go into the job, they want you to train somebody how to do your job so they can come
and take
your supervisor.
Yeah.
Yet you've been here for 15, 20 years. And this new kid comes in and they want to put him in a place of authority. The blue, the messenger says, represents falsehood. He said, even the sky that we look up in and see that blue is not really what the sky's color is. He said the blue is from the atmosphere and the moisture in the sky being affected by the sun rays that hit the atmosphere.
Right.
So it tends to look blue. But there's no blue sky. The higher you go, the less blue you see. And you pass outside of the stratosphere and ionosphere, you end up having blackness.
Yeah, back in dark.
No sky. The brother mentioned the sun shines on everything. But the space that it shines in is black. Why? Because light has no color from the sun until it hits or strikes something.
Right.
Then you can see that thing lit up and see that there's something there.
Yes, sir.
Because the light itself don't have color. Example. This room has light in it, right?
Right.
You turn the light off, you don't see no light.
No.
But when you turn it on, boom, all this reflection in here gives you an opportunity to see some light, even from the bulb.
Bouncing off.
Right. It says, underneath the flag, which represents the United States of America, there's a symbol that's used in the religion. called Christianity.
The old cross.
It is an emblem of suffering
And
and
shame.
We don't believe that, do we? Because if we believed it, we wouldn't be wearing it around our neck, on our ears, tattooed on our bodies, on our rings and jewelry, and plastered all up in our houses, hanging on the wall.
On the wall.
But we don't know the meaning of it.
Right.
So we jump on there thinking the Christian religion is a good thing. Why? Because it says, love your enemies as you love yourself. Do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. If it spikes you on one cheek, turn the other cheek. These are the things that the religion teaches our people to abide by.
Yeah.
And to believe in Jesus and the Trinity, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. And when they talk about the beginning in Genesis, as the brother mentioned, there's no mention of a Father, a Son, and a Holy Ghost.
No.
So the Christian doctrine has added them in.
Yeah.
To make you think, oh, yeah, it's the Trinity. When in reality, they teach you that God is one.
Yeah.
They give you three.
Confusion.
Exactly. Confusion. Under this cross, which we mentioned is an emblem of suffering and shame, it is also an emblem or an instrument that was used for torture. This is the time of year you're going to be seeing some Easter programs on TV.
They'll be out there.
You're going to see the supposed Jesus hauling the cross on up to Mount Calvary. You're going to be saying, that was a terrible thing they did. But that's not the real deal, brothers and sisters. That's not the real deal.
No, sir.
You see, they show you a white boy. Why? Because if the child is white, the daddy is white. And if the daddy is the spook or spirit God, you're going to think that God is the one too. Yet, he couldn't save his son. He must not have no power if that was his son. So when we see these emblems that we see, not only the cross, but the little fish. But they said Jesus was a fisher of men. So you'll see the little fish on the back of people's cars. Or you see the fish with where the eye is, he got a little cross there. Implying that this is Jesus' thing. It's a good thing. It's not a good thing. It never has been a good thing, and it will never be a good thing. Especially for a black man or woman.
Exactly.
All praises are due to Allah. Today, brothers and sisters, we just get to touch a tip of the reality of the religion of Christianity and the symbols that it represents and the flag that most pushing this on us.
Yeah, worldwide.
As we've said before, mother and child were black on the other side of the ocean.
Yeah.
When they came to America, they got bleached. They became white. So when they show this picture of Jesus, what they represent as Jesus, not only this one, the one him holding the lamb, the one at the door, several of them.
All white folks.
They want you to think Jesus is white. And if his mama was black and his daddy was mixed, you don't even ask the question. How he get to be a white child?
Can't be.
How come they observing black on the other side of the water and we looking at white on this side of the water? It's part of the bleaching process that we've had to go through.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
As the brother mentioned in the opening, we were brought to the islands where a transformation began.
Yes, sir.
They killed the parents
after they had
kept the children.
Right.
And of course, they made the children believe and understand and abide in a manner that they wanted them to be about.
Yes, sir.
Now, when you go to the pet store and you get a dog, he's a puppy, right? Because you don't want no big dog. You want a dog you can train to be what you want it to be. To watch your house when you go. To bark if somebody comes to the door. To be named what you want to name. You call your dog Spot.
Fido.
You know, his name on no Spot. When he was born,
he was a dog.
You named the dog and made him what you wanted to be. Now when you say, he come running.
He recognized the sound.
Same way with black folk. And that's what they were doing in the transformation that was going on in the islands. So once they raised the puppet, the person, the child, to be what they wanted to be mentally, particularly, then you can send them on off any way he wants.
True.
Anybody who get with them, you say, sit.
He sit.
He sit. Jump.
He jump.
Jump.
Bark.
Bark. Ruff, ruff. Speak. Whatever it is, that's what the trained animal does.
Follow the
That's
command.
what the trained black man and woman has been doing for now some almost 500 years.
Think about
Whatever
that.
the master call,
Mhm.
we come.
Yeah,
Whatever he want us to do,
we do.
we do. Now the day has come that you're being awakened with some water.
Right.
So this slavery, suffering, and death that we've been getting
No
under
more.
the hand of white people,
No more.
we don't want that no more. Yet we still getting it on.
Yeah.
Every day on the news, you find somebody who has been killed,
Mm-hmm.
either by a black person
Mhm.
or maybe somebody representing white authority,
Mm-hmm.
oftentimes police.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yes, sir.
but when it comes to loving your brother as you love yourself,
Mm.
that ain't for you.
Mm.
That's for the white man looking out for his own.
Mm-hmm.
He don't want you loving each other. You start loving each other and giving each other some consideration and some concern,
Uh-oh.
you might want to get tight with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then when he do something to offend you or degrade you,
Self-defense.
you might want to say, "Whoa, we ain't putting up with that no more."
Mm-hmm.
You might want to fight.
Mhm.
Keep in mind, you can never beat white men when it comes to a war.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Especially when they're dealing with common weapons,
Right.
like guns and knives.
Yes, sir.
He got more than you ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
He has the authority over it too.
Mm-hmm.
You know? He talking about we can destroy the world 10 times over with the amount of weaponry and bombs and things that we got, nuclear power
Mm-hmm.
or nuclear bombs. So you can't beat him like that.
Mm.
So the best way we can beat him is to join on to self.
Yes, sir.
Listen to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad
Right.
and begin following those teachings.
Exactly.
Why? Because those are the only teachings that we as black people don't get that's going to set us
That's free. That's right.
not just free, but free indeed.
Yes, sir.
Meaning we become independent people.
Mm-hmm.
We'll start grabbing on to our own flag
Mm-hmm.
now that we've got them.
Right.
You know, we never enjoyed being no slave.
No.
The best slaves was the HNIC on the planet.
Yeah, Negro and child.
Why? Because he got the hand-me-down clothes from the master.
Mm-hmm.
He got the worn shoes from the master.
Mhm.
He ate good in the kitchen. You know, he was the big nigga, so to speak.
Yes, sir.
But we as field niggas,
Uh-oh.
house catch fire,
Mm.
let it burn.
Find out.
Head nigga in charge be telling me some, go get
Master.
some water.
Mm.
You got to understand the times and the conditions and what has transpired over the years.
Yes, sir.
Many people said, "Oh, that was a long time ago."
Same
We
thing.
don't need to pay no attention to that no.
Mm-mm.
Why? Because ain't nothing changed for them.
Mm-mm.
They still kicking your tail.
Mm-hmm.
They still running on top of you anytime they want.
Mm-hmm.
They still treating you as if you was on the plantation.
Yeah.
You go to the courts, no justice for
No
you.
justice.
They just lock you away.
Mhm.
Why? So you can press some license plate.
Mm.
Somebody got to press them. Somebody got to make some furniture.
Mhm.
It just will be you. And we pay you what? 15 cents a day.
50% a day.
What can you get for 15 cents a day?
Nothing.
You can't get nothing. You can get a whipping over that 15 cents when somebody take it from you. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Little man hanging on the tree is something we've been enduring ever since
we've
our
been.
feet hit the soil of the Western Hemisphere.
Mm-hmm.
Plantation.
Right.
I know you don't like it, but you enjoyed it, didn't you? It was no plantation life so good. Master gave you the worst of the food. He
Yeah.
gave you one pair of shoes every year or so.
Mm.
You had burlap bags that you had made clothes out of.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't had no sewing machine, so you had to sew it up with your hands,
Mm.
needle and thread. Thread probably with some straw.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gave you no cotton.
Mm.
Because cotton is money.
Yeah.
You understand?
Valuable. Yeah.
You eating the worst of foods, getting the worst of medical care.
Mm-hmm.
And people, oh, he ain't like that no more.
Mm.
Well, now
Yeah.
they're doing even more. You
Yeah.
go to the hospital now,
Mm.
you had a toenail that was coming off.
Mm.
Now they amputating the whole foot.
Woo. Mm.
You go in for a toothache,
Mm.
and they doing a heart transplant on you, or they taking a kidney. Why? Because they experimenting on you too.
Yeah. Always.
You're just a tool for the usage of white folk.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't believe that, do you? Because he
Mm.
wouldn't do you like that. The nigga is white folk. Nigga said, I love white folk.
Mm.
No, we don't love them,
Mm-mm.
and they don't love you.
Mm-mm.
So get your mind off of that. God is love.
Mm.
What God?
Good
Not
question.
Almighty God, Master Farad Muhammad.
Mm.
He came here to kick some tail,
Mm.
but he trying to give you an opportunity to get right
Get right.
before he do.
Yes, sir.
The man said, Jesus said, nobody know that they know the hour, but
Mm-hmm.
his Father,
Mm-hmm.
referring to the God, as they say, in heaven.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
And
sir.
he know,
Right.
and he lets us know that the time is getting short.
Very sure.
The Honorable Elijah Muhammad says the time is getting short. He said our day is near at hand.
Near at hand.
Well, if it's all that close, we better start looking around and see what's going on.
Yes, sir.
And we see the changes coming down.
Mm-hmm.
He says, observe the going ons in the heavens.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the conditions that we're living in.
Very phenomenal.
And I don't mean in the heavens out in the sky somewhere.
Mm.
I mean the heavens on earth that we live in. The
Right.
conditions. Weather getting worse, ain't it?
Yes, it is.
They got big storms going down through the south now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Working its way on up the east coast.
Yes, it
They're
is.
talking about how many tornadoes they have in there.
Yeah.
They said the time was going to be coming when everything was going to be pushed toward the center of
Center
the
of
country.
the country.
You know, when you get ready to sweep the floor, do you not sweep it into a pile?
Yeah.
You don't just sweep it all everywhere and they expect to be getting rid of it. No, you sweep it into a nice little pile, and then you sweep it in the trash can, in the dustpan, to put in the trash.
Right.
Don't you think Allah gonna do the same thing
Yes,
when
he
it
is.
comes to taking over and killing and destroying this world of white folk,
Right.
running them all out?
Sure is.
They talk about floods or tsunamis, you know, coming in from the Atlantic Ocean.
Mm-hmm.
Half of Florida be gone. Gulf of Mexico coming in,
Yeah.
squeezing Florida on up
Watch.
toward Georgia
Woo.
and
Watch.
Mississippi and Alabama, sweeping it all together.
Weave it together.
So when they light that match to burn this hellhole, 12 miles high for flames,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
where you gonna run to? You ain't gonna know which way to turn. White folks be running for their bunkers. You know, but when the earth get hot, them bunkers gonna be warm, man.
They'll be tuned.
They gonna be sweating up in there.
Yeah.
So they'd be in bad shape too. And we talk about, the brother mentioned 2,000 years ago, we didn't have the mother plane floating around, but you see them pictures that white folk be painting with the little spaceships with somebody
Yes, sir.
on the pictures,
Right.
or showing, you know, a little spacecraft up there.
Mm-hmm.
We teach about the mother plane.
Yes, we do.
You know, just because we want advertising hard back then,
Mm-hmm.
and you advertising it hard back, they call them aliens now,
Mm-hmm.
coming from other places, from even other dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
We got to know what time it is, brothers and sisters.
Yes, we do.
This is the day that this world is coming to an
To an end.
And the only way we can survive, if Scripture said there's only be 144,000 that's going to be left, do you want to be one of them?
Yeah.
I mean, because the whole planet and the whole earth belongs to us.
Mm-hmm.
So when it comes to our flag and their flag,
Mm-hmm.
we don't want to be under their flag.
No more.
Because the United States is headed for destruction.
Total destruction.
Look at the economics going on there.
Mm-hmm.
They're always talking about how bad things get.
Get away.
Gasoline right now is $2.55.
Headed to
I
our
don't know
dream.
when it's coming down. I'm glad I filled up when it was in the 30s, 230s, you know. I know in a few days I'm going to have to fill up again.
Uh-huh.
I hope it don't be no higher than it
Yes,
is.
sir.
I hope it doesn't drop back some. You know, because all of that takes money out of our pockets.
It does.
When it comes to food,
Mm-hmm.
not many of us growing it.
Mm-mm.
Even there's a thing running on one of the programs now talking about black farmers.
Yes, sir.
And they're talking about how tough it is
For
to
a black
do farming now.
Yeah.
The man has cattle. He's selling some of his cattle just to make loans to get the feed and stuff that they need for the other cattle and the stuff to be planting for next season.
Mm-hmm.
We don't even want to plant a garden.
Mm-hmm.
I was telling my mom on the way, I said, look, I got to get me some tomato plants.
Mm-hmm.
Just to put in these hanging baskets on the
Yeah.
porch.
There you go.
They'll look pretty blooming, little nice red tomatoes.
It tastes better eating.
You want to, you know?
Yeah.
We want to do a raised bed this year.
Yes, sir.
Got to get started.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
April.
Because we want to be growing some stuff our own. I don't want to have to go to Child City Brother Kamau to get me something to eat. You understand?
We got to start too. Yes, sir.
I don't want to have to do that. So when we look over here and say, "Oh, that's been wonderful. I love living in America." Well, you can't think of any place you'd rather live than America. Why? Because you ain't been no other
You
place.
can't miss what you can't miss.
You know, and the message said when the time comes, you get notice you got to get up and go.
Mm.
You better be ready to get up and go.
Mm-hmm.
You talking about my author slowing me down, gotta get something to rub on. You know, time to go.
Keep stepping.
Go.
Yeah.
And here we talking about going up into the mountains to do a retreat at some white folk religious center, because they the ones who got the places, they got the land. They're the ones who setting up everything for their benefit. And here we coming, Muslims, gonna rent their facility to have our retreat.
They want the
And when
money.
we talk about pooling our resources to come together to build our own
retreat.
our own land and build our own places for retreat, people, not only Muslim, people don't, black folk period, don't want to do it. Over here in church here, you probably got 500 churches, big and small. Ain't none of them got no unity going on.
I ain't trying it.
If we got a little temple on the corner, and we can't fill the house with black folk who need what we offer.
Exactly.
I'm not thirsty. I don't want to drink that water.
You need it.
I need to drink this water.
Yeah.
Let's look at the other side of the board for a few.
Yes, sir.
You see, this flag is the flag of Islam.
Yes, sir.
And I know some gonna say, "Well, I see the flag and y'all's backwards." No, ours is forward.
That's forward.
Because ours is of the time and
The
shows
new.
the example of what's coming in.
Right.
The other one
That's the old.
is, as brother said, the old one. It's showing what's going out.
Mm-hmm.
So if we look at our moon here, this is a new phase of the moon coming in. Why? Because this is a new time for us coming in.
Yes, it is.
1930, as we said, this flag was presented and given to the black man and woman in the hills of North America and declared us to be a free and independent
people.
Nation for the first time.
Yeah.
But I thought we was already free.
When?
Show me the examples of freedom
Indeed.
that you've exercised. I go where I want. I sit on the bus, front of the bus. I eat in whatever restaurant I want to eat in and sleep in the hotels. Who hotel is it? Because you remember the Green Book showed you a whole bunch of places you could stay while you traveled across the country.
Our own.
And soon, owned by black folk. And soon as the white man said, "Well, you can come on, get up in here. Come on over to Holiday Inn. You can sleep here." You ran on over there. We mentioned the movies. As soon as he opened the door to the Lowe's for you, you was running on over there, listening to the man play on the organ. Oh, that's so nice. Looking at their nice edifice. Oh, that was good, brothers and sisters. But we had a bunch of black theaters here in the city that end up closing down because the white man gave you an opportunity to give money to him and come look at the same movie.
Same movie.
The same movie. That's like you buying HBO, Stars, and these other movie channels. All of them play the same movie.
Yeah.
You don't need but one. And they don't play them at the same time. So sooner or later, what you want to see gonna come. You know? And with the internet, you can go other places and see it. It's still in the movie, and you ain't paying for it. You got to wake up.
Yes, sir.
This moon represents equality.
Equality.
Why? I'm getting a little bit away from the subject, but we're still on the subject.
Yes, sir.
You know, the messenger gives us this information for our benefit.
Yes, he does.
When we say it represents equality, your question ought to be why?
Why?
What equality? The equality because it was at one time a part of the earth. Oh man, go ahead.
Yes, it was.
Yes, it was a part of the earth. 66 trillion years ago, one of our own scientists who was dissatisfied with the way things was going on. We people dissatisfied all the time.
You know?
Yeah. He was dissatisfied because he couldn't get everybody to speak the
same dialect.
Now, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said our dialects are different because of atmosphere.
Where we live.
Where you live make a difference as to how you talk. Where you come from that old southern accent, you sound like a Texan. Oh, yeah, you with your nose all kind of closed. Oh, who you from, Brooklyn? You know, atmospheres make a difference in how you perceive and expel energy or voice modulation to vocal expression to relay information.
Mm-hmm.
So if you live in a different environment,
Right.
naturally you're going to speak differently.
Mm-hmm.
If you live in a cold environment,
Mm-hmm.
do you think you're going to be getting a tan?
No.
Not likely. And they talk about white people went up to the cold area in the ice area, and they got it like they got the same sun we got, except the position and atmosphere that they were in was different.
Mm-hmm.
You know, white folks ain't get light skin because they went to no cold climate.
No.
They got light skin because they bleached out in the transformation from going from black people to white people. It eliminated the melanin in their skin.
Yeah.
People say, well, they still got melanin. They just can't see it. You just lying. You just lying.
See it, can't see it.
You don't understand the making of the white man.
Right.
The white man is a made man. He's grafted from the black man.
Yes.
You can get a black man and put him with a white woman and she'll have a color baby.
Mm-hmm.
You can put a white man with a white woman and she'll never get a baby of color.
Never.
And if a baby come out with some color, it'd be like the movie what Ken Norton played in. What was that movie that Ken Norton played in? And the master's wife kept on making him do her. And when the baby came out, the baby was black. And they boiled him in the pot of water. If the baby came out black, and the white man was the only one doing her, somebody lied.
Somebody lied.
Yeah. You can't get no white man out of a black woman or a white woman out of a black man. You got to have a black man in there to make it. White man going to black woman, the baby come out color. Black man going to white woman, baby come out color. White man, white people produce white children.
Only.
We produce black people of different shades. Master said 16 hues.
Yeah.
16 different shades of us.
4 basic colors.
Red, black, brown, and yellow. You know, it's more than that. You know. So we need to recognize. We said the moon represents equality because at one time it was a part of the earth.
Yes, it was.
The explosion that occurred 6
trillion
years ago was one of our scientists dissatisfied who drilled a hole
dynamite
close to the center of the earth, filled it with a dynamite that was 30% the power of what they had today.
And it
blew a piece of the earth off trying to destroy everything. But see, you can't kill God.
Can't kill.
You know, even God today can't kill God.
Think about that.
So we got a moon up in the sky now. What's up? 2,000 miles and 250,000 miles away from us, slowly receding from us, slowly each year, another little bit an inch more, moving away from us. But it's been there for 66 trillion years,
long time,
a part of the earth.
Yes, sir.
John Glenn, they said when who was supposed to be the first man on the moon, came back and said it smelled like
gunpowder.
Why? Because that's what got it up there.
Gunpowder.
White scientists trying to say, no, that ain't what happened. Another moon or object or something crashed into the earth and blew that part off. And it just coalesced and formed and floated on around us. No. We produced that. Not intentionally. Yeah. But we did. That was the result of it. You can't kill God.
Right.
You can't kill his creation. The man says, man can neither be
created nor destroyed.
You can only change and alter its form.
Its state. Yeah.
Its state, right. So when we said this was a part of the earth, that's why we related to the black man and woman. We are looking for some equality. We as people are equal with each other, but we have no knowledge of our own selves.
Exactly.
But we are equal to each other.
Yes, sir.
Ain't no big eyes in Islam.
No.
And ain't no little you. Some people want to be some big eyes. And we got people who want them to have big. Who you following? Like we follow Elijah Muhammad. The man who was raised by God himself and taught everybody else about Islam. Yeah. Well, I follow so and so.
Well, he said,
follow who you want, bro. But if you want the real deal, you better go to the source.
To the well.
You know? What you eating? Well, I'm eating popcorn. Well, what you eating? I'm eating corn. Well, ain't they the same? No, they're not the same. You know, corn is the base.
Yeah.
You got to buy
You got to process.
made from it.
The-
We said we don't eat popcorn. Why?
Mhm.
Because it has no
No
nutritional
nutritional
value.
value.
So if you putting something in your body that has no nutritional value, you just wasting some spit. You wasting some jaw powder too. You wasting some teeth. You wasting some tongue.
Yeah.
You wasting some acid gonna forming in your stomach that's gonna be help digest that.
Mm-hmm.
So why ain't no good for you?
Mm.
But I like it. Okay, we like a whole lot of things that
Ain't
ain't
no good for us.
But we've been taught to eat these things
Yeah.
that ain't good for us.
Mm-hmm.
And we've been made to think they are good for us.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about fluoride is a poison, is it not?
That was it.
But they put it in toothpaste, don't
They
they?
sure do.
And then they warn you, don't be swallowing the toothpaste.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's fluoride in it. Fluoride is detrimental to your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know, find you some toothpaste that ain't got no fluoride.
Mm-hmm.
You might be better off just taking some ivory soap and
Mm-hmm.
brushing your teeth with that. Since
A
it's
bacon.
Bacon
soda.
or baking soda.
Baking soda.
Or even salt water.
Salt water.
There's plenty out there that we don't know about,
Mhm.
and we know about. But
Mhm.
hey, I want some of this flavored up stuff. Okay.
Better sugar.
Equality to the moon.
Mm.
The star represents justice.
Justice.
We said this one star
Mhm.
represents all
All
the
the
stars
stars.
in the universe.
Yeah.
We don't need no 500 stars. We don't need no 50 stars.
Uh-uh.
Ain't but one state in Islam, and that's the state of righteousness.
Righteousness.
So you say, I'm a Muslim. What does that mean? It means I'm one who
Submit
submits my will entirely
to the will of Allah.
Almighty God Allah.
Mm-hmm.
Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And we say Master Farad Muhammad because we now know who is and recognizes him to be the
God.
supreme God.
In
When
reality.
people say, I'm praying to God, I'm going to pray for you. Don't pray for me. Because I don't know who you praying to. And whoever you praying to, I may not be in good standing with them. If you want to pray for me, pray to Almighty God Allah.
Right.
And his messenger.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'll take that one.
Mm-hmm.
If you just want to pray for me, don't pray for me like that. And I don't know your God. And your God don't know me. And I rebuke him. And Christians say, that's right.
Rebuke.
But I take mine. Because I know who he is.
Yes,
And
sir.
I know what he has done for us. There's
Yeah.
a song, what he done for me. I don't remember how the song goes. I know
Yeah.
the words about what God has done for you. This one has made me the man that I am today. I'm a better man today than I was
Same here.
30 years. Well, let's say,
40.
35 years ago.
Yes, sir.
I'll say it, put it like that. When I came into Islam, my first exposure was in 1983. My first letter went in 84, and that letter got lost. All praises to God.
You right.
And I had to do it again in 85.
Yeah.
And I still have that letter.
Okay.
Because we said we don't have no place to send them now.
Keep
The
it at
messenger
home.
is not amongst us.
Keep it at home.
Allah is wherever he is.
Mm-hmm.
So we ain't got no address to where he was staying that the information was going to. So we now say, hold on, we make copies. But hold on to your letter because it's your responsibility when the word comes as to where they go.
Yeah.
We do that.
We do.
But people say, well, I got mine in Chicago and Final Call.
Uh-oh.
Well, that ain't the letter that the messenger put out.
No. That's
Because we got
Call.
that letter and we got the original letter from the messenger.
Mm-hmm.
And we can see the difference.
Big difference. Yeah.
You know? Y'all better get your minds right.
Yeah, recognize. Yeah.
Because everybody who think they're members of the Nation of Islam and registered with it,
No.
it is not proper registration.
Exactly.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
There are those who seek to sit in the messenger's seat.
Mm-hmm.
And all praise is due to Allah. If you are following the messenger, you will know his voice.
He will.
Because what? You will study what he teaches us.
Mm-hmm.
You will be in his books.
Mm-hmm.
You will be on his videos,
Yes,
his
you will.
recordings.
Right.
You'll be listening to that stuff regularly.
Mm-hmm.
You'll be studying it.
Yes.
You'll be in a house where it's being talked about and taught.
Mm-hmm.
So you
Correct.
can say, well, I teach the Quran. Well, I don't teach the Quran.
Mm.
Because I don't know enough about that to teach you.
Mm.
All I know about that is what the messenger teaches us.
Of
And
it.
he gives us a guide
To
to
understand.
understanding that.
And
So if
the
we're
Bible.
going to teach it, you better be getting your guide from the messenger.
Yes, sir.
Black man
Get the right
in
guide.
the back of the book to teach from that.
Exactly.
But the foundation that we learn, even from the books, particularly Message to the Black Man in America, is what we need to even be talking about.
Exactly.
I'm studying the Quran.
Exactly.
Well, what about speaking that Arabic? I can say a little bit,
Mhm.
but I can't say enough to God to have no conversation with nobody.
Mm-mm.
I don't know that much about
We know
the Arabic
mathematics.
language.
We know mathematics.
But I can speak English because that was the white man gave me, raised me on. And I will relay that to you because he raised you on that too. So we can communicate there.
Yes, sir.
But the thing is to have a proper understanding when we relay the information to each other.
Exactly.
Justice.
Mhm.
We all say we all were looking for it. And we want it. We need it.
Mhm.
We can't function properly without
Without it.
it. But
Right.
if you want it, you got to be where it's being offered.
So, yeah.
And it's only being offered to black people under the guidance of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Almighty God Himself, Master Farad Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
You think you can get it somewhere else? Go ahead on and see what you get.
Confused.
Hopefully we'll be here when you get back.
Yes, sir.
But you'd have been better off being here with us, getting it
At the
while
same.
it was being offered.
Exactly.
Because you go over there someplace and they teach you one thing and you find, oh, that ain't right. Well, what you go over there looking for it for? Because if you had it in your hand and you didn't eat the pie,
Yeah.
certainly somebody gonna take the pie and contaminate it before you give you something else.
Mhm.
That pie ain't good enough.
Uh.
Here's an example. Don't eat. Look, you got that slice of Kamau pie in your hand.
Mhm.
Don't eat that. Come on over here to you crops
Mm.
and eat this.
Mm.
You look over here and say, they got a little label on you crop pie, right?
Mhm.
They ain't got no label over here on Kamau pie.
Mm.
We already know what the ingredients are.
Mm.
We look over here and they got a list so long you can't even want to read it.
Yeah.
And once you get about 2 or 3 things, I don't even know what some of this stuff is.
Just,
You know, that's the way it is with the food as well.
Yeah.
We don't know what it is.
Mm.
So if you're going to have some justice,
Mm.
you want it to be just right.
Just right.
The sun
Mhm.
is represented with the red background of our flag.
Yes, sir.
Brother says 250,000 women. That's the moon.
No. 93 million.
93 million miles away from the earth.
Mhm.
The light from it hits us in 8 minutes and 20 seconds from when it comes from the sun.
Mhm.
It's traveling at what? What's the speed of light?
1,000 miles per second.
per second. Now that's fast.
Yeah.
But if it take it 8 minutes and 20 seconds to hit you in the face,
Mm.
once it leave the sun, it seems like it moves right slow in it. When you're talking about 186,000 miles
Per second.
in 1 second,
Mhm.
but it's okay though. Like the brother said, it illuminates everything,
Mhm.
touches it, it gets in the way of it.
Mhm.
You know, you can walk out there in space outside of the atmosphere of the earth
Mhm.
and look out there and it's all dark.
Mhm.
And the only thing that's lit up is the stars because they're balls of fire just like the sun is.
The object.
You will be not seeing yourself unless that sunlight hit you.
Mhm.
Then it will illuminate you to let you see, oh, you there too.
You got to.
Freedom, justice, and equality is what this flag represents.
Yes, it does.
And what black man and woman ain't been trying to get some freedom, justice, and equality
400
ever
plus
since
years.
we've been here in the hills of North America?
Everybody.
Everybody.
Mhm.
All of us want it.
Mhm.
How many of us really getting it if we stick it over here in the church?
No, it's not there.
Drinking that Christian contaminated water.
Not
Thinking
there.
it's good for us. It ain't never been good for
Mm-mm.
black man.
Mm-mm.
Why? Because it's a made religion.
Mhm.
Made for who? The benefit of white people.
Yeah.
People don't believe that.
That's the truth.
You can go to church and you can pray all you want all your life.
Mhm.
And your prayers will never get answered.
Never get
Why?
answered.
There ain't no God of righteousness in that church.
Think about that.
That's a true statement.
Mhm.
I know some would be saying, oh, he must be crazy.
Mm.
Yeah, crazy in love, like Beyonce said.
Mhm.
Crazy in love with the truth.
Right.
Because ain't no Jesus over there for you.
Yeah.
That's going to be a benefit.
Uh-uh.
And ain't no God over here. That's going to be a benefit.
Right.
If you don't know these things, you better ask somebody.
Yeah. Learn.
Is that what they said?
Yeah.
You better ask somebody why. Because ain't nothing over here good for black folks.
Mm-mm.
Name one thing white folk have done that was good for black folk. You can't name nothing. You good, but we get food. He gotta have food too.
Yeah.
And then the reason who was producing the food for him to eat?
We told him
You.
that. Uh-huh.
And yet he wouldn't give you the best of the foods that he
Gave
gave
you the scraps.
prepared by you.
Mm-mm.
You get the leftovers.
Mhm.
And you try to make something out of that.
Mhm.
And then the way they call it leftovers.
Mm-hmm.
Shirley Temple, little thing, birthday party.
Mm.
About the cake.
Mm.
Little black children think they gonna get some cake. She said, "Come on, give y'all some of my birthday cake."
Mm.
But she ain't giving them that. Come to the party, eat the cake.
Mm-hmm.
She said, "I'm gonna give y'all some leftover
Mm-hmm.
birthday cake."
Mm.
We glad to get it. And we figure something better than nothing. And we ain't been getting nothing at first.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's the way it is with us over here. We think that religion is good for us,
Mm-hmm.
but they done taught you to love everybody and everybody love you.
And they don't.
And the examples that are shown, don't nobody love you, black man.
Mm-mm.
No, you don't even love your own self.
Think about
We
that.
bred that out of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that the Almighty God Himself comes and teaches you who you are.
Mm-hmm.
That your God is not a spook or a spirit, but a man in person.
Right.
And when you say, "Jesus, help me," that Jesus that you've been introduced to,
Mm-hmm.
He don't never come help you.
Think about that.
You can even go say, "Lord, just let me hit the number." You ain't hitting no number depending on that, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Well, I'm waiting on my ship to come in.
You ain't sending nothing out.
You ain't waiting nothing to come in. Here, you can get something back.
Yes.
Why?
You
Because
invest.
you're learning to do something for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you're dealing in reality.
Right.
The reality is that what goes out comes
Comes
back.
back.
What goes up
Comes
down.
down.
Why? Because we're dealing in math
And
science.
science.
We're dealing in the real. Ain't make
Yeah.
no believe no more.
Mm-mm.
You single, sister?
Mm.
Yeah. I'm waiting on Jesus to send me somebody.
Mm-mm.
How long you been waiting? Chances are you've been waiting a long time and you're looking to get an answer right there. You know, you got to do something to get something. Be in a position and condition that you
To
can
receive.
meet somebody.
Yeah.
You know, if you stay in the house all the time, what you get? Nothing but that same old air that's in the house.
Mm-hmm. Get out
You
and
gotta
breathe.
go, "Oh, it's nice out here." You know, that's the way it is.
Yeah.
It's love
Fresh
is
air.
taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, coming from Almighty God Himself
Right.
in person,
Yes, sir.
is what black folk need.
All the
Between
time.
the two, we got a question that's asked here.
Mhm.
Which one will win or
Survive
survive
the war of Armageddon.
People say, well, the war of Armageddon is that battle between righteousness and unrighteousness.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a battle between God and the devil.
Good and evil.
See, both of them are beings,
Mhm.
not spooks.
Mm-mm.
Man, God is a man,
Right.
the devil is a man.
Right.
And they got their own agendas.
Mm-hmm.
So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, when it comes to the things that we involve ourselves in,
Mhm.
he said just because it is a so-called Negro involved, the decision is left to the Southern courts
Mhm.
at this time of the writing of the book to determine what's going to be good for you,
Mm-hmm.
implementing laws that's good for them.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, we have to do the same for ourselves.
Right.
That we are an independent people,
Mm-hmm.
and that we know we're independent people. The accident messenger, he said, well, when you gone, meaning when you die,
Mhm.
how is your government how your nation gonna continue on? He said it's gonna continue on just like yours.
Mm.
He said we're gonna be governing our own self.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be rules, laws, and regulations for our own selves.
Mhm.
Everything that you're doing for the benefit of yours, we'll be doing the same thing for the benefit of ours. The beauty of ours is you ain't gonna be involved. You know?
That's good.
And white man, they would implement laws amongst themselves that when this kind of teaching comes out,
Mm-hmm.
they would be arresting people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, black people that is,
Mm-hmm.
arresting us
Right.
because they don't want this information out.
Jail
They
one.
jailed the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
In the early
He stayed,
days.
I think it was like 5 years.
In the early
Why?
years.
Because he was teaching
The truth.
freedom, justice, and equality to the black man.
Mm-hmm.
And they was waging war, and they didn't want that kind of talk getting out because it would be offensive to them,
Mhm.
which meaning y'all interfering with me recruiting these black men and women to go to war and fight for me.
Mm-hmm.
Brothers and sisters, the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is most beneficial to us.
Yes, it is.
All we have to do is learn it,
Use it.
study it,
Mm-hmm.
use it, implement it,
Right.
make it a part of our everyday
Life.
He said the American flag has its red in it.
Mm-hmm.
And as we said that represents the blood that we've spilled, the little enlightenment that we have about it.
Mm-hmm.
We know we're the one. Lincoln freed you.
Mm-hmm.
Lincoln freed you to give you a gun so you could fight for the Union.
That's all.
It's got the blue, it's got the white,
Mhm.
it's got the stars. It has the symbols and emblems that make you think it's a good thing, but it's not.
No.
And even if it was a good thing for them, this is not a good thing for them, but it's an excellent thing
For
for
us.
all of you. Which one gonna survive the war between the two?
Mhm.
This is the new kid
On the block.
His days are numbered. 6 days shall thou labor and do all your work.
And
On
seventh
the seventh
rest.
you rest. What we say, that's the Sabbath, right?
Keep
We
it
say
holy.
the Sabbath was not made for man, it was made for God. We are the gods that this day is now coming into fruition for. True Islam day.
Well, Islam.
After each lecture, the messenger subscribes that we take time to entertain questions and answers and comments. Reference what I've